Hi, guys, and welcome to Unfurl. Today, I really felt like I wanted to make a video about loneliness. In fact, I've been wanting to make this video for probably, God, the last month, and I've tried two different ways to do it, and both times it just was a bit too try hard and it just didn't feel right. And then I thought the best way to do it is just to talk about it rather than trying to make fancy videos explaining it. So I I'm a therapist, and I loneliness is something that comes up in the room often. Clients talk about their experience of loneliness, and loneliness also came up recently for me. So I thought it's something that I could talk about here, and maybe it can shine a light in a way, because if we're all experiencing it but we don't quite know what to do with it, maybe this might offer some inspiration. So what came up for me recently was loneliness. I recognized that loneliness had come up, but almost as quickly as I felt the loneliness, I felt the impulse to get away from it. I noticed that I was jumping up into my head looking for a solution. The first thing that came up was I thought about a lovely partner that I broke up with about 6 months ago. Really lovely, but logistically, it was just very hard to keep it going. So I called an end to it. And then, of course, in this state of loneliness, all the thoughts came up about, oh, maybe I blew it, and maybe I was just making it too complicated. And now there I go again, messing up another relationship. So basically, I started to make myself wrong in order to make this relationship seem like a good idea. And so that was part one. And then I went, come on now, Kira, you know that it wasn't going to work because you live in different countries and it's just too hard to keep the momentum going, keep the connection. So, so that was part one. Instantly that I'd come to that realization, it ran its course. It was everything it was meant to be. Boom, in comes the next thought. Maybe I need a new partner. And maybe I need to go online and start doing internet dating. So there I was, off trying to find another solution. And something in me just went, hang on a sec. What are you trying to get away from here? And so I brought myself back to the loneliness, the feeling of loneliness. And I really tuned into my body. And I said, what does it feel like in my body? And I could feel it. And as I tuned into it, I thought, well, because I'm an art therapist, of course, I wanted to see if I could create an image of this loneliness. So the visual that I got was like a big, thick line running through the center of my body. And it was like the line that runs through the middle of the road. So I laid that down on the page, and then I could feel there was this very heavy sort of blocked feeling in my heart, right here. And so I added this into the big thick line. And when I looked at the page, I was like, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like in my body. It's like this heavy thick line running through my center with this very dense blocked sensation at the very center. And as I looked at the image, I then said to the image, which is, part of the process of art therapy, part of it is making the art, but the other is conversing with it. There's my feeling there on the page. So I get to look at my feeling, and then I get to talk about it and also talk with it. And so I said to the feeling, what do you want to say? And the answer that came straight away was, will I ever be loved? Will anyone ever be able to love me? And I was struck by how young the voice was that said those words. And I knew straight away this was a very young part of me who had felt lonely in my childhood. And I had never acknowledged that. I'd never spoken those words. And I realized that loneliness had been there for so long unconscious, and that any time I had come close to it, I had jumped away from it by trying to find a partner, getting into a relationship, choosing unsuitable people, because staying with the loneliness felt so painful. And so in this process, I was actually being with my loneliness. The very thing that that young child in me had been waiting for all this time was for connection, was to have a friend in the loneliness. And I was offering that to myself for the first time. And I knew as it was happening that healing was happening. And I can see how automatic it is for us to try and get away from it. I can see how automatic it is for us to believe that if we meet the one, we won't feel this loneliness. That if we are in a relationship with somebody and we notice this loneliness, well, it must be them. I must be just with the wrong partner. And then we start to think about getting out of the relationship or looking for a new partner. And really, this loneliness is our loneliness. Our relationship with someone else doesn't fix this. By looking for a partner to take it away, we're asking somebody else to be responsible for our feelings. We're expecting them to fix it. This was all a revelation to me. I had really never given too much thought to loneliness before, because obviously I had just spent a lifetime ignoring it, trying to get away from it, distracting myself. You know, my favorite distraction has always been food. So yeah, it was a real turning point in my relationship with myself to connect with my own loneliness. I feel quite emotional now as I'm telling you this, because I know that I'm not the only one who experiences loneliness. I know that there are so many people out there right now who feel this loneliness, who are looking for a partner to try and get away from it, or maybe using lots of different addictive patterns to avoid it. So what I'm saying today is, I feel you. I get it. I know how difficult and painful it is to stay with this feeling. But if you dare to stay with it and really feel it, where is it in your body? What's the sensation in your body? And really just stay with it. And if you have the inclination to get something on a page that kind of represents the feeling that's in your body, you are connecting with your loneliness. You are being friends with it. You're in the loneliness with that young part of you who has been alone with it for so long, just waiting for someone to notice, waiting to be seen, waiting to be heard. And if you can stay with your loneliness, you are meeting your young child exactly the way they've been waiting for. So, thinking of you, lots of love. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.